All right, so to solve today's warm-up question, we want to get the square root symbol by itself. I don't want anything outside of it. Right now, this -4 is outside of the square root symbol. So how do I get rid of it? Huh? Yes, adding 4 on both sides. So those cancel out. So now I have the square root symbol, 2p squared plus 7. And there's nothing outside of the square root symbol anymore. 1 plus 4 is 5. All right, so now what can I do? Yes, we have to square both sides. So the square root will cancel out with the squared. Now let's see what we're left with. I am left with 2p squared plus 7 equals, what's 5 squared? 25. All right, now my goal is to get this p-value by itself. So let me remind you of something important. The order of operations is parentheses, exponents, multiplying and dividing, and adding and subtracting. Whenever you're solving an equation, you go backwards. So you have to do addition and subtraction first. So what do I do first? Yes, subtract 7 is what we do first. So I am now left with 2p squared equals, what's 25 minus 7? 18. Now, the reason why I brought this order of operations up again is because I saw this mistake every class period. A lot of people tried to take care of the exponent first by doing the square root. Why is that wrong? Yes, so what were you supposed to do first? Yes, you were supposed to divide by 2. Multiplication comes before doing the exponent, okay? So instead of doing the square root symbol, what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to do is divide both sides by 2. So what we get now is p squared equals 9. Now let's deal with that exponent. How do I get rid of a squared? A square root. Square root both sides. So the square root symbol cancels out with the squared. So we are left with p equals, what is the square root of 9? 3. What else? -3. The reason why is because 3 times 3 is 9. And also -3 times -3 is 9. So there's 2 answers, okay? The warm-up asked for the negative answer. So this one would have been your answer, okay? So your answer for today's warm-up is p equals -3 because they wanted the negative answer. All right, so this is a review of solving square root equations. Let's do a quick review of different transformations, okay? This is already in your notes. When there's a negative in the very front, what does that do? Yes, the negative in the very front is reflect over the x-axis. What about the negative on the inside? What does that reflect over? The y-axis. Okay, what does the C value do right here?
Move to left or right.
Good, left or right. So if it's a positive sign, it's left, and if it's a minus sign, it's right. It's opposite. And what does the D value do? Yes, up and down. Thank you. Now let's talk about A and B. What does A do?
A vertically.
Yep, you're right. Yep, it can be a vertical stretch or a vertical compress, right? How do we know if it's a stretch? Yes, if it's greater than 1, it's a stretch. If it's less than 1, it's a compress. Now, it's going to be different for B. What do we write for B? Yes, it'll be horizontal. It can be a horizontal stretch or a horizontal compress. Horizontal compress. Okay, now if it's a stretch, it'll be less than 1, and if it's a compress, it's greater than 1. So it's basically the opposite, okay? All right, so we have this. If you don't have this written down, it's already in your notes. If you want to, take a picture of it. We're gonna go ahead and move on and do some examples, okay? So real quick, you can just shout out the answer. Let's say I have y equals 1/3 x plus 4 minus 3 with a negative. Okay, so guys, this negative in the front, what does that do? This negative, I heard it. Someone said it. Reflect across which axis? The y-axis. That's what the negative on the inside does. What does the 1/3 do? No, it's a stretch. It's opposite. So it's a horizontal stretch. And what do I write? By what? 3. Good. You flip it. It's a 1/3 in the equation. So when you describe it, you flip it. It's a 3. Okay? And the plus 4, what does this do? Left 4. Good. Yes. And minus 3? Down 3. Nice. Let me give you another one. Uh-oh. Let me give you another one. Let's say I have y equals what does this negative in the front do? Yes, reflect over the x-axis. What does this 4 do? Yes, it's horizontal, compress by what? By 1/4. Good, you always flip this number. What does this do? Good, right 1. Up 2, perfect. Okay. Now, what I want you guys to do, create your own example. Give it to your partner and let them tell you what the transformations are. So I want everyone to create their own example and show it to someone. They need to tell the transformations, okay?